The sands historically are very, really important, and in terms of the history of the motor car in Britain and indeed in the world. And land speed record attempts were held here in the 20s, and in fact the first kind of race, motor car race, was held here back in 1909. Pendine is long, it's hard, and it's flat. Ideal. Pendine was the centre in the early 20s of attempts at the land speed record, the world land speed record, and Campbell and Parry Thomas, who were the two main combatants, if you like, at the time, were going head to head on trying to get the land speed record. Parry Thomas, his vehicle was Babs. Parry Thomas was an engineer, had worked for Leyland. He also, in his part-time, sort of enjoyed racing and did quite a lot of actual racing at the Brooklyn circuit. But he came down here with Babs after Campbell in 1925 had set the land speed record. He came down here in 1926 and took it back. And that was absolutely brilliant as far as he was concerned. Campbell then came back and took it again. February 27, Parry Thomas comes back here, not particularly well. We understand he was ill on the day. Anyway, the sad thing was that the car flipped over and he was tragically killed. The car then was buried in the sands almost the same day. It was almost sort of, they felt that they needed to bury it. And in 1969 it was dug up and restored by an engineer called Owen Wyn-Owen. And it's really nice for it to come back here, as it does come back here in the summer, in this nice museum with Pendine Sands, where it was famous and infamous in some ways. So there's been a kind of continuation with activity on the beach involving motor vehicles. But as a community council, we're very keen that the kind of heritage of the beach in terms of the history of motoring is not lost. And hence our links with the Vintage Hot Rod Association. It's the right place, it's an appropriate place for it. It's a historic place that they should be engaging in these historic activities.
The councillor at the time, a gentleman by the name of Philip Morris, got in touch with us to ask us if we'd like to put on an event. And my first question back to him was, are we allowed to race? And his immediate response was yes, so we couldn't not take up the offer. The hot rodding for me is fun with old cars. I'm not sure exactly where the whole package comes from for me. There's just something about an era. If you're using all the right old parts on an old car, then for me it just doesn't get any better.
Purely history. The event, the ground, the beach, what happened before, and it started here, nowhere else. And hopefully we can become a part of that history by making more history.
I'm Marco Warren. This is my 1934 Ford Coupe. Been doing hot rodding for as long as I can remember. As a kid, brought up with cars. Met the Colchester crowd, the East Coast Sidewinders, as an early teenager, and that drew me to the hot rods. It'll go from there really. For the hot rodders, there's nowhere in England where we can run flat out, and most people here have been out to the States, to places like El Mirage, the Dry Lakes, and Bonneville, Salt Flats. So this is our little bit, and obviously this was happening before then, so back in the 20s they had land racing here, and this is our little chance to have a go at it. None of us have been able to do it before, so it's sort of, it's just real special for everyone to be here racing.
This is a 1932 Ford three-window coupe. Recently built, fresh out. It's just 600 or 700 miles. Had a few problems with it. It's blown up once, caught fire once, caught fire in the garage before I even got it on the road. And it's exciting. Well, I'm one of the original founders of the VHRA back in the 80s. I went to Gerston Down, which is a hill climb in Salisbury, and they wouldn't let us run because we didn't have a recognised club. A few of us got together, started the VHRA so we could race hill climbs and non-hot rod related events. So it was just an excuse to get in, really. We printed some t-shirts and made some cards, and that was it.
The event today, yeah, just amazing. There ain't nobody that's been here that won't say any different. You know, it's just there ain't words really. Like just going back with like everybody here together doing it. You know, we'll all be talking about it. And while you're here, there's all little things that happen as well. There's just the little things between us that make it special. You know, we go, oh, do you remember that? Do you remember this? Who done that? And who didn't do that? So it's just another one of those times we've all spent together and had an absolute blast in our hot rods. And yeah, doing what we've done, where we've done it, it's just can't be topped really. It's the best. So yeah, excellent.